We've headed down to Newbury today to interview none other than Arsenal and England legend David Seaman. Okay, we're back with Arsenal and England legend David Seaman. David, we last spoke at the fishing tournament, I believe.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Which was good, although I'm not sure you had too much success, but let's not bring that up. But
that was a little bit.
There was some. Not as much as you're used to, perhaps, in your playing career. But how have you been since then, and how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, nice to be back. I'm looking forward to this. I've also got a bit of fishing booked in as well, so I'm eagerly awaiting that. But we're coming off the back of a really frustrating weekend for Arsenal. But,
very much so. Arsenal
I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Let's waste no time. Yeah, Arsenal suffered their first league defeat of the season. Controversial circumstances surrounding the goal. The performance itself wasn't great, but the main talking points were the officiating decisions that took place. Really, I mean, even before the goal happened, we saw Bruno Guimaraes elbowing, forearm smashing Jorginho on the back of the head. Yeah. VAR didn't think that deserved to be looked at, which was a surprise to me.
And even when I saw that, I was like, that's at least a yellow, and it's close to a red. Yeah. Because he deliberately puts his hand up.
There's no need.
And then there's one afterwards. I can understand the one after. So the one afterwards where he did get booked, I can understand what he's doing. He's like trying to hold off people, but you always run a risk that if you hold off people high and it's going to go around their neck or face, then you're in trouble. Yeah. But to be fair to that, like Havertz was lucky just before that as well.
Ask you about him
with his sliding tackle and
deserved yellow. If he caught him with his leading foot, it could have been a red. But it was the training.
And it's the way that he jumped in as well. So you've got to be careful when you're leaving the ground like that. And I thought that he got away with it. I know he got a book.
He put another tackle in similar not too long after, and I thought that could have been.
Yeah, but that was. I know he was trying to block it. He was trying to slide block. So it was nowhere near as violent as the first one. But Guimaraes was lucky as well.
Yeah, they were manhandling the referee at points as well. I saw photos.
Yeah, but we've done that ourselves, so we can't really argue too much about that one. But the goal is just frightening. I don't know what VAR are thinking in terms of, like they were asking, like they can't see a reason to disallow the goal. Well, I saw possibly three. Yeah. The ball, the ball going out, you can half understand that because we haven't got like the bird's eye view of that. Although it did look out, but can't leave that out.
Can't be proven, I suppose.
Ball comes in, David comes and tries to get it, misses it. But it's an obvious foul.
2 hands in the
on
back.
Gabriel. Yeah, it's such an obvious foul. And then they're saying about the offside. Is he offside when it rebounds off him? Mm-hmm. The only thing I can say about the offside is if it goes back parallel.
Yeah, if he's behind,
then he can't be offside.
That's true.
If it's like played forward, then it's different. But not only was it a foul, it could have been a handball.
Yeah, it was
just so obvious, and I can totally understand Mikel's frustrations. After the game. Yeah. Because it's happening too many times, not just for Arsenal, other games.
Liverpool, Tottenham recently.
Yeah, exactly. And it is so frustrating, and it's happening time after time, and I'm now getting to the point where, and I'm thinking to myself, I really believe that they need ex-players in there because ex-players can see things that they can't. Yeah. They can see whether it's a deliberate foul or whether the guy's play acting, was it over the top? We can tell because we train every day.
Been in the situation.
Been in that situation, not just in games, but in training. The lads see it every day in training. You can tell. You make a tackle, and some of the lads will play act, which they do on match day, but they try and do it in training. Yeah. And the lads are like, "Oh, get up! I hardly touched you." And
see through it.
But they know when they've actually touched them, or when they've meant to do them. I think that would really help VAR in just on certain situations. Like you look at all the I watched Match of the Day at the weekend. I was watching Sky Sports. All the ex-players that looked at that goal could find at least one reason why it shouldn't have been allowed. Yeah. At least one reason. Yeah. There was three.
But then you've got Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville disagreeing, saying that Arteta's just having a whinge and
but that's clickbait. Gary and Jamie, they do that. Gary's normally right most of the time. Jamie loves a little bit of controversy, but it's. As soon as I saw it, I was like, the most obvious thing for me was the foul on Gabriel.
Joe Linton with the hands.
Two hands on his back.
Yeah.
You know, and I even heard Martin Keown talking about it on the at the weekend and saying, like, you know, anywhere else on the pitch, that is a foul. Yeah, two hands on your back, push
you. Reverse it round, that's a striker game, pushing the back, they'll give a penalty probably.
I know. So I just, you know, for them not,
unfathomable.
That's why, that's why it's so frustrating, is that they didn't see that. I'm like, really?
Yeah, it's bizarre. But Mikel Arteta came out afterwards, like you said, very strongly worded statement criticising the PGMOL and the way they've used VAR. Arsenal have backed him.
Yeah.
Does he run a risk?
Which I'm really happy to see, actually.
Yeah.
You know, it was great because it was an outburst. It was passion from the manager, which the fans would love to see. And if I was still playing, I would have loved my manager to be like that.
Yeah.
Arsene was like that. You know, obviously he didn't see a lot, but he did see it. But he told everybody he didn't see it. You know, but he was really passionate.
Yeah.
And when you see your manager like that, you know he cares, and he knows and he totally understands what's going on. You know, because like you were saying, there was like 21-year-old players out there, and that was a big man's game. That
really.
You know, he's a really physical. Newcastle are really physical. They're tall. They're aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, they're a good team, and they're a handful, especially at St James's Park.
Yeah.
You know, so Mikel understands, you know, what, and all the preparation that goes into it. You know, it's frustrating. You know, I'm part of like the under-21 coaching and under-18 goalkeeping coaching. And I go in like once a week, and the preparation for every single day is frightening.
Yeah,
it's like there is so much goes on that players don't know. You know, I didn't know that this went on even when I was playing, but now it's like tenfold.
The levels have gone up massively.
And, and then for the first team, it's even more. You know, and then there's more at stake. Like Mikel says, there's so much at stake here. You know, and you know, you start getting a feeling that the VAR side of it is not up to the level that it should be, and that's exactly what Mikel was trying to get over.
Do you feel, in terms of trying to bring in ex-players, there'll be fans concerned that, you know, there might be a bias element, or a player, if they played for Liverpool, they shouldn't referee but
they do that with referees. You know, first thing they ask referees is, who do you support? You know, or who does your family support? You know, and they can't be involved in those games. You know, they'll be. I think that's the only way to get, especially with a lot of these, you know, like big decisions that are not getting seen by VAR. You know, so that for me that would help a lot.
In terms of Arteta criticising the PGMOL, do you think there's a chance it might come back to haunt him? He might be a marked man now, or it's because it's the same stuff with Klopp, hasn't it? So Klopp's gone after, so maybe it's a case of
but they're
everyone banding together.
But they're just highlighting mistakes. You know, they're not having a go. You know,
personal, is it?
Yeah, it's not. They're not. It's not like the system, although it might be a little bit, with all the rules and phrases that he put on it, and
it seems to be getting more convoluted every year.
You know, you know. But what they're doing is they're highlighting mistakes. So like the more that you highlight mistakes, the more gets said about it, and then hopefully they clean up their act.
Transparency.
And they make sure that they're on it. But I still feel that, you know, you've got to get ex-players in there.
We'll come back to Arsenal maybe in a bit later on, but yesterday we saw Emi Martinez make a bit of a howler. Probably a shot he should have saved. Maybe he was trying to make it look a bit better for the cameras. What's your
the old camera save?
Maybe,
I saw that, and I tell you who else has been getting away with it is Onana. He's been doing a couple. He did one at the weekend and got away with it. You know, he dives, he puts his arm out, and it actually hits him here.
Yeah.
You know, and he's done it a couple of times and got away with it. You know, Emi Martinez did the same. You know, and as soon as I look at it, when I see things like that, I think two hands. You could easily get two hands there, control the direction of where you're going to actually push the ball as well, not just knock it back into play, like push it out wide.
Yeah.
It's a big thing that I have at Arsenal with the young goalies, you know, like be aware of where you're pushing the ball to.
Of course, yeah.
You know, not just back into play. You know, so we work quite a lot on that. But yeah, with Emi, you know, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, he's gone for the camera save.
It's backfired.
And it backfired.
But obviously he's had a great year personally, you know, winning the World Cup and then voted FIFA goalkeeper of the year.
Yeah.
Do you think he is as good as he's hyped up to be, or do you think it's just the Argentina winning the World Cup?
It's everything, you know, like you win the World Cup and the way that he played as well. You know, he was brilliant in the World Cup.
Yeah.
And he's had a great season with Villa. He's getting better and better. I remember him coming to Arsenal as a 16-year-old.
Really?
And I think they signed him for about £1 million for a 16-year-old.
That's quite a lot.
And he was as raw as anything, and he got all these different styles that he'd come over with. And I was looking at him and I was thinking like, wow, like £1 million for that. And it was like really like, almost like mind-blowing, but when you saw him actually do his goalkeeping, you knew there was a lot of natural talent there.
Yeah.
And you can spot, once they've got natural talent, you can really work with that.
You can mould
you
it.
can add stuff to it.
Yeah.
You can, and that's exactly what he's done. He's added stuff to his game, he's developed, and sadly to say, he's got better when he's left Arsenal.
Well, this is it. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal got a lot of money when they sold him, but now it's he could be looking for a big move to Real Madrid or PSG even potentially.
Exactly. And you can't deny that. He's deserved that the way that he's been playing. And a lot of Arsenal fans were, because Aaron was bought in as like as a replacement to Martinez.
Yeah.
And even when Martinez left, he'd done really well in the cups. He'd won the FA Cup. And then people were thinking, well, why are we buying Aaron? Because he's gone and now Aaron's coming in. They're paying that much money for a number 2.
Yeah.
Which obviously then he turns into a really good number 1 when and like a situation when I arrived at Arsenal, whereas all the fans loved John Lukey.
Okay,
But obviously he'd left. But I had to win over the fans at Arsenal. And I told this story because Aaron was getting a bit of stick. My transfer fee was a little bit less. Mine was 1.3, which was a British record at the time. And Aaron comes in for like 20 odd million or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And and he liked that story, so he could understand and relate to that. And now everything's turned around. Now they've actually got in David Raya on loan, and now they're competing. Is it good for Arsenal? I would say yeah, because we've got 2 really good goalkeepers. But you've got to keep them both happy.
This is it.
Mikel's spoken about this rotation system that he's going to do, even rotating in games, which I'm still not I'm nowhere near convinced with yet. But
that would be
we've got to wait and see how it pans out. It's I think the thing is that they'll be pushing each other very much to the like when Richard Wright came.
Yeah.
When I was at Arsenal, they paid like £6 million for him, and I was like, whoa, what are they thinking of me? But it made me a better goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll make them 2 better goalkeepers with the competition that they've got.
I hope so. As an Arsenal fan, obviously Ramsdale didn't have a great day against West Ham either, did he? Conceded 3.
He was unlucky.
Not really his fault, the goals. But do you think Mikel Arteta will be having a look at the Sevilla game coming up, thinking maybe give Aaron
I'm sure that Mikel looks at every game now, because of what the way that he spoke about rotating the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
And he said that he will play the best goalkeeper that's on form. All we can do is wait and see. It's a new thing. I know that Peter Schmeichel spoke about it and said that he hated having a really good reserve goalkeeper.
Really?
Because he didn't want that pressure of if he made a mistake, he might be out.
Yeah.
He just wanted to know that he could make that mistake and then rebuild, and then get his confidence back. And I said at the start of the season that it'll make Aaron a better goalkeeper, which it will, but they still need to be playing their games, So that's where the difficulty is keeping both of them happy. And that's why I'm not a manager.
In terms of the other goalkeepers that we've seen in the Premier League at the moment, is there one that reminds you of the way you played and your stature and your flexibility and reflexes?
It's hard now because you see so many goalkeepers that are, and this is another frustrating thing, or something that winds me up. Straight away, people talk about, he's great with his feet. Like, is he any good with his hands? Because you're a goalie. If he's really good with his feet, he should be playing outfield.
True.
But looking at I love Edison. I love the way that he goes about his business.
Great goalkeeper.
He's very calm. He doesn't make the camera saves. He just and he's always ready, because when you play for Man City, you're not getting a lot to do in between.
You've got to be on point.
And I think it was last week he showed, and he made a brilliant save. And he'd had nothing. He'd had he'd had a few back passes and a couple of, I hate that as well when you say, I had nothing to do, but he's decided whether to come for a cross, or he's read a back pass, or he's read a through ball. That's all goalkeeping.
Things that kind of under the radar.
Like people say he had nothing to do because he didn't have any saves. And I'm like, But anyway, so Edison didn't have many saves to make, but then all of a sudden, and he produced like a proper save as well. You know, so I really like watching him, and then that left foot of his is just frightening,
isn't it? Yeah, really.
It is so good, you know. But he's one of those guys that's gone the other way because he used to be an outfield player.
And now he's gone back into goal. Yeah,
now gone back into goal, and he's doing it properly. I like the way that he keeps goal. I love the passion that Aaron shows when he's in goal. You know, even Jordan, you know, the passion that Jordan's got, you know, but it's like an erratic.
I was going to ask you.
It's like a totally different way of goalkeeping that I used to do. You know, where I'll always look calm and everything. Jordan is like a firecracker.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, but he produces saves.
How do you feel about goalkeepers celebrating saves? Because I don't remember you ever doing that.
I know. I celebrated a couple of penalty saves.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. You know, like, and even if you look at the footage of when I make the save against Sheffield United.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you watch me, I get up, there's not even a smile on my face.
Exactly, stone face.
I know. You know, so that's the way that I did it.
Yeah.
But then you look at someone like back in my day, me and Peter Schmeichel, two totally different ways of being a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And both worked.
Yes.
You know, we were both, you know, if they didn't win it, we won it. You know, it was that way.
Yeah.
You know,
Great battles.
Yeah, you know, and so like, you know, Peter was very aggressive and dominating and in an aggressive way, in a vocal way as well, you know, whereas I wasn't as vocal and as I didn't look aggressive. There was all sorts going on in here, but you know, poker face.
You're
there
calming influence on the Tony Adams was the shouter, wasn't he?
I think that's why my son plays poker actually, because I had a poker face on the field.
Okay,
And
interesting.
But with Peter, it was totally different. You know, both ways worked.
Yeah.
You know, and I say that to a lot of young goalkeepers. You know, like to come in and, you know, like, don't pick a goalkeeper to copy. Be yourself.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, be yourself, and then just develop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say your greatest career achievement was as an England or an Arsenal player, or Leeds or QPR?
Do you know what's the first thing that comes to my mind is on that question like that is coming back from being released at Leeds United. I was 19 and I got told I weren't good enough and they were letting me go. I was devastated.
I can imagine.
I was rubbish at school. You know, I didn't do anything at school apart from PE. I was brilliant at every sport.
No backup plan.
I played cricket for Yorkshire. I played basketball for Yorkshire. I played football, and I loved athletics, high jump, the whole thing. Yeah. Everything to do with sport. Even to the point where my school, Kimberworth Comprehensive in Rotherham, they would punish me. They wouldn't let me do my PE lessons. They made me do my homework in PE lessons because I was like,
that's cold-blooded.
I know, but you know, and anyway, but then I left school as soon as I can. Anyway, go to Leeds as a 16-year-old, get to 19, and my pride of joy is I was in the first team photograph because it was me and John Lukic were the only two goalies there.
Hey, right.
I've got it on my phone, and I love it. You know, I'm there with the Leeds first team, and I'm the number 2 goalkeeper. But a month later, I get released. And I was gutted. I didn't know what I was going to do, you know, because like when Eddie Gray, who was a Leeds legend, he was the manager at the time. He told me, and I went home and I cried my eyes out, and because I didn't know what I was going to do.
That's true, yeah.
You know, and then literally a week later, Peterborough came in for me, and like my dad said, he says, "Oh, Peterborough." I was like, "Where's Peterborough?"
That's what we said on the way down here.
You know, and I hadn't got a clue, you know, but I went there. And it all started from there. I went straight into the first team. Yeah. So I was 19. I was playing against men.
Amazing.
So so from that first season, then going, you know, to get to where I got to, that's my beast.
Well, having the kind of mental strength to not let that rejection destroy you and build yourself back up.
Yeah, but you know, there's a few cherries on top of that cake.
Yeah, some pretty big ones. Yeah,
yeah, you know, so
double and
you know, like making my debut in '88. I was at QPR at the time for England.
Yeah,
you know, so that was a real high.
Yeah, a lot of caps came after that. Well,
75
caps.
Exactly, you know, so then I moved to Arsenal, and I go to Arsenal as, you know, like under pressure because I'm replacing John Lukic. In my first season, we win the league. Yeah, and which is exactly the reason why I went to Arsenal. I signed for Arsenal for less money than what QPR were offering me.
You took a pay cut.
Yeah, I took a pay cut to go to Arsenal.
Arsenal were stingy in those days, weren't they?
I know, they were. And even the blooming taxi driver on the way in, I was in a taxi going to Highbury, And he's like, what are you doing here, Dave? He says, hey, signing for us? I was like, actually, I could be. And he was like, yeah. He went, you do know they don't pay very well, don't you?
They had the reputation, yeah.
And anyway, but anyway, it didn't matter. My first season we win the league, I only let in 18 goals.
Yeah, incredible.
So
incredible.
it was justice and justified decision as well.
Exactly, yeah. No regrets whatsoever. Glad to hear. Switching tack again, back to, we were talking about Edison there. Obviously, they've got Haaland up front, a striker kind of different to anything we've almost seen in the Premier League. In your day, we had like Ian Wright and Alan Shearer.
Yeah.
How would you have handled Haaland, do you think, or how you and Tony Adams and Martin Keown would have handled him? Tried to bully him or
a little bit, but with Haaland, he's more like a Shearer and a Ian Wright. Do you know what I mean?
He's kind of old school.
He's a mixture of old school strikers. We haven't seen anything
like him for a while. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And he can rough it up. Alan could do that. Teddy could do that.
Yeah.
Ian did it. Alan Smith did it. Like Mark Hughes. Those sort of like really physical strikers. And when you watch Haaland, you see a lot of his game is strength.
Yeah.
And physical ability. And the way that he gets rid of defenders before he makes his run.
That's true.
Like blocks them off and then does his run. And his finishing's like
lethal.
It's lethal, but it's exactly like what Shearer and Wright used to do. And
true.
Then even with a mixture of Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp, with the guile that he has, like curling it into the far post and not always a smash shot.
No, so he's got the finesse.
He's got everything, and then you find out how old he is, and you're like, oh, game over.
I know, yeah. Although Arsenal kept him quiet, didn't they? To be fair to Saliba and Gabriel.
Yeah, this season they did. Yeah, we missed Saliba at the end of last season when we played them, but and that's another thing. Like with Saliba, when you look at him, a guy that went out on loan for a full season.
Yeah.
It just shows you how important playing is. Getting that experience, not being in training all the time, getting out there, experience, making different decisions at different times and an important stage in the game. And he came back to Arsenal this season, last season. He came back last season, and it was like a new signing.
Yeah.
We were like, whoa, where's he been?
Amazing, wasn't it? Remember the Bournemouth game? Yeah, Arsenal fans all singing his song.
Yeah. And now you see him now, and he's like, he looks like an experienced pro.
Yeah, the injury last season was almost what ended the title challenge, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it cost us hard, because it also meant that we couldn't get Ben, that one and Tomiyasu, because Ben had to play centre half most of the time, where ideally we would have liked him out on the right.
Exactly.
But there was a few injuries to key players last season, but
now sadly it seems to be injuries are striking again at a crucial time. Gabriel Jesus been out for a little while now with a hamstring problem. Eddie Nketiah's not really looking like he's got the physicality to lead the line.
I know what you mean with Eddie, but then all of a sudden he gets the hat trick, and you're like, that's why he's in there.
That's right.
Because like if you give him the chances, he gets them.
Yeah.
He's just, his game's developing.
Yeah.
He's learning. He's only young.
I think he scored all his goals at home though, hasn't he? He hasn't really scored any away.
That's nothing to it. No, it's just the chances that he gets. When he does get chances, he normally sticks them away. But it's for Eddie. It's about progressing the rest of his game. His touch can be sometimes a little bit loose. But he'll work on that. He'll proper work on that. And then he will get better. There's no doubt about it.
Arsenal have been linked to Ivan Toney. Obviously, he's still suspended, I think, but I think that's up in January. Brentford are talking about wanting sort of 80 million. Do you think Mikel Arteta would be focusing on bringing in another striker? Or do you think there's other areas?
I would imagine that he'd be looking at it, and especially with, the injuries that we're having, with Gabby. But, when Gabby came back and we saw him against Man United, you're like, that's why we've got him.
The Champions League is his.
Yeah, but that goal that he scored against Man United, where he was about to shoot and then he just dragged it back, and the Man United centre half went out the ground.
Yeah, slid off the pitch, didn't he?
Because
I've watched it many times.
And I was at the game, and like when he'd done it, even I went.
Yeah, amazing.
And I was just watching it. Yeah, but so you see that sort of calmness in that situation. That's why you always have him around. Then the goal that he scored last weekend, was that against? Was it West Ham?
No. In the Champions League, you mean?
Oh, yeah, it was Champions League.
Away at Seville.
That's right,
Sevilla.
when he cuts inside and bends it in, and you're like, that's his quality, you know. And
exactly.
so then you hope that he's going to get a more run of games without picking up these little niggly injuries. But that's probably the reason why Mikel might look at someone like Tony. But
do you think he fits in? Do you think the way Arsenal play can fit him into the equation? He's good. He's strong in the air, but he's good with his feet as well.
Yeah, but then, you know, when I look at that, like straight there in my head, I'm comparing that to like when Haaland came to Man City. The people were like, they don't need to strike like that.
Yeah.
Look how many goals he scored.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you can see that happening with Tony at Arsenal.
Yeah. If that ever happened. Wing, Martinelli on the other
Yeah. You know, that big target man that can finish, and he's pretty decent at penalties and all.
Could be great. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. In terms of Arteta, can you see, well, it depends how long Pep Guardiola stays at Man City, but can you see Arteta being tempted up there if Pep leaves?
I don't even want to go there.
No, do I.
No, because I don't, you know, I would hate to see that. Mikel is really good at what he's doing, you know, and I stuck by him even when the you-know-what hit was hitting the fan, you know, when he was having a few bad runs. Yeah. And I was saying to everybody, I trust the process. What process? And I was like, trust me, and I was going in, it was like just when I'd started to go in to coach, and I could see stuff he was doing on the training ground with the lads, and it was really good, you know, and I knew it would get better and better. It was just, they were going through a sticky patch. Yeah. You know, luckily, he won the FA Cup in his first season. That gave him a little bit more credit. True. Because he got that trophy already. Yeah. So then, you know, if we hadn't won that, what might have happened? You never know. But Arsenal stuck with him, you know, and now they've seen the stuff that he's doing, and I see it, and everybody else has seen it now, you know. So there's no question. And then, like, we see the passion that he showed, you know, after the game against Newcastle, and it's as though it's like burning even brighter in him. Do you know what I mean? You know, he's even more passion and more wanting to win.
Galvanise the players. Seeing that in your manager.
You know, and it's great to see that.
So
we're not talking about him leaving at all,
no,
right?
Yeah, glad to hear it. Going back to the England situation, obviously Pickford is Gareth Southgate's number one. Yeah. Ramsdale, Nick Pope, got a few.
Sam Johnson's in as number 3 at the moment now. You know, so Nick's not been in the last 2 or 3 squads.
Yeah.
So you know,
Johnson's taken his place.
Yeah, you look at that, and like Jordan's nailed on number 1. There's no doubt about it, because whenever he plays for England, he produces. Yeah, you know, okay, sometimes with Everton he'll make a mistake or whatever, but that's obviously more games. But he's still a real quality player, and he's a really good England player. Number 2, obviously, it looks like Aaron, but then there's that scenario where if he's not playing, then what happens? And then he's got Sam Johnson, who's playing at Crystal Palace, who's having a fantastic season, had a really good end of season last year, or last season, and he's playing really well this season. But you know, but even when I was involved in England, there was always a pecking order, you know, and it went, you know, it was like when I joined, it was like Shilton, Woods,
Chris Woods.
You know, so and then Schultz retires, and then it's like, all right, so it's Chris's time, you know, and I'm at Arsenal, he's at Sheff Wednesday. I'm thinking,
it should be.
But you have to wait, you know, and that's what I did. You know, I joined at Arsenal at the age of 26. You know, so I had to wait, and then when I got my chance, I was in there. Yeah, you know, and that came in 95 when Terry Venables took over. I played a few games before that, but not many. But then Terry, I always remember Terry coming up to me, and before Euro 96, he's like, "You're my number 1 goalie. I want you to know."
That's good.
And I was like, I couldn't get through the door. My head had swollen that much.
Massive ego, yeah. But I know you don't want to specifically talk about, you know, the Raya Ramsdale situation, but overall, the fact that Raya's on loan, he hasn't been permanently signed. Yeah. Ramsdale's on the bench. Is there an element of uncertainty? I know Arteta said he wanted 2 number 1s, but has he kind of undermined himself by?
You're always going to have uncertainty when you've got 2 good goalkeepers like that. Yeah. And with what Mikel said, that he was going to rotate. Whether he does that, we don't know. Aaron comes off the back of last season being voted the best goalkeeper by all the players in the Premier League, not just at Arsenal. All the players in the Premier League. Then plays his first 5 or 6 games. Nothing wrong, some good saves, plays for England, away at Scotland, comes back, gets left on the bench.
Tough one to take.
It'll be hard to take, but we're still waiting to see how it pans out. You know, and like I say, it's going to make them it's going to make both of them better goalkeepers because of the competition. But but what it does do, it puts a lot of uncertainty in other people's minds. You know, because everybody's talking about it.
That's it.
You know, and it's hard for me to talk about it and to try and criticise somebody or one of them or both of them or whatever, because I go into the training ground. So I have to I have to sit on the fence a little bit. You know,
but from Aaron's perspective, he signed his new contract last season, so stability.
He's got the stability. He's just had a baby boy as well.
Yeah. So
Ronnie.
From his perspective,
great name.
If he doesn't get back into the team, he's still got options, hasn't he? Like he's fine.
He's too good to be a number 2.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but so he's David Raya.
Yeah.
You know, so they're both too good to be number 2s. But there's only one position.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, that's exactly why I don't want to be a manager.
Tricky. What would you say your greatest save was for Arsenal? I mean, everyone says the Sheffield United one, but are there any kind of underrated saves that you specifically remember?
Like important? I've had lots.
I remember the penalty shootout against Sampdoria.
I know, Lombardo.
I
saved 3 penalties in the shootout.
People forget that.
Yeah, you know, the Spain save.
Spain save, yeah.
You know, that was, you know, the Scotland save, you know, that was a massive important stage of the game.
Yeah, Gary McAllister.
Yeah, then literally 90 seconds. Yes, I have counted them. Gazza Guzan scores past.
Yeah, most memorable goal.
Past Gordon, you know. So it was. There was like some big saves in there, but the most one that I think everybody remembers and I love watching it is the Sheffield United one against Pescasquilido.
Huge save.
And it was
at Wembley as well. So
no, that was at Old Trafford.
It was before they were having the semi-finals at Wembley.
So it was up at Old Trafford. It was my 1,000th game. I was 39 when I made it.
Okay.
You know, so I was getting towards the end of my career, and a lot of people were questioning, you know, is he still good enough? And I go, both, have that.
There you go, yeah.
And I didn't realise until afterwards, you know, like how good a save it was. When I saw it on the TV, I was like, that was all right, that.
It probably happened so quickly, you didn't really have time to really figure out what happened.
You know, so it was, amazing. So I've always got that. You know, obviously I've got, you know, a couple of big high-profile mistakes, like the Naeem one and then the Ronaldinho one. You know, and you know, so they're part of being a goalkeeper. You know, they show you or they ask questions about you, and can you react after that? Yeah. You know, and you know, the 9-1 was 94 or 95. We won lots of stuff after that. Yeah. 2 doubles.
That's right.
The Ronaldinho one. What else did you do? So like going to my last. By the way, coming off that, you know, that was 2002. We just won the second double with Arsenal.
Yes.
And then that happened. So that took a bit of a shine off that second double, but. Then the next season we win the league. We win the FA Cup. Yeah. You know, and it's my last game for Arsenal. I didn't know about it as well, by the way, at the time. I was captain for the day.
You didn't realise it was going to be your last game.
Yeah, we're playing Southampton because I was only on a year-to-year contract, which suited me because of my age.
Yes, true.
And so this is a little insight. So as captain, because Patrick was injured, I've raised the trophy with Patrick actually in his suit. If you look at the photos, that's another argument that we had on the pitch. I was like, no, we're both lifting the trophy. He's like, no, it's your day. I was like, no, we're lifting it together. He's like, no. I said, if you don't do it, I'm not doing it. He's like, really? So that's why you see me and me kit, him in his suit lifting it together.
One hand each.
So then I come out of that game and I'm on the beach in Portugal, and Arsene phoned me up and he says, I've got an offer for you. I was like, okay. He said, I want you to be my number 3 goalkeeper. I was like,
number 3?
That's a bit of a blow. He said, but I want you to be my goalkeeping coach because Bob Wilson, my great friend, he was retiring.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's something I'm really interested in. And then he went, but I was like, go on. And he was like, there's a 75% wage drop. So that's why I went to Man City, everybody.
I do not blame you for that.
And I went up there and I only played, I actually played half a season because I got injured and that was it.
But that does lead me on to a question that I've got down here. When you were at Manchester City, did you happen to bump into the Gallagher brothers at any point in time, or did they ever come down to the training ground?
No, I didn't. I don't think I actually saw them at the games because I'd got a box like for my family, so I always stayed in that area.
Yeah, fair. They are quite often there, I think.
I've met them out. I've had drinks with them, and we've had a couple of good nights out.
I was going to say, any rowdy nights out with them too?
Of course there was, but I'm not telling you lot.
Fair enough. Keep under wraps. Liam and Noel.
I don't get rowdy.
I don't know. Might have heard differently.
But no, they were, they're proper fans. They love their club,
love it.
and it's everybody can see that.
That's it. They've been there since before all these glory days. No one can accuse them of being glory hunters, can they? To be fair. Another thing you're very passionate about is fishing, of course. Jess, who's organised this interview today, he's a passionate fisherman as well, and he's advocate of how important it can be for helping mental health and just bringing, good quality of life to someone who might be struggling.
And for me, fishing is somewhere that I can go and just recharge the batteries. Yeah. Because and even when I was playing, I would go out. When I was playing at first, I was into golf. Right. And which at that time a lot of people were. I still am into my golf, but if I get a free day now, I'm going fishing. There's no question about it.
No two ways about it.
And like sometimes when I played golf and I was playing to try and relax, I'd walk off the course more frustrated than I'd walked on it because I hadn't played very well.
True.
So that was defeating the object. So then I started with the fishing, and I was like, oh, this is really nice, because even if I don't catch, I'm out, I'm on the bank, I'm like just emptying my thoughts, watching wildlife, watching nature, trying to catch fish, and it just worked.
Tranquility.
Yeah. Like you say, and there's, I work with Fishing Republic, and we're doing a campaign called Hats On for Mind, and it's a mind charity, mental health charity.
That's great.
And it fits together perfect, like with the fishing and then that, and then when you chat to some of the people that have had problems, trying to tell them that this is somewhere where you could try it, you could go, or go out and have a walk, just to get outside and get outdoors.
Fresh air and just away from phones and social media and everything.
Exactly. Go to a space where it's going to make you happy, and that's exactly what fishing does for me. It makes me even more happy when I catch a big one.
But even if you don't, it's still nice to be out and
you're out, and it's
nature.
I'm camping, I'm cooking my food on the bank and everything, and it's just ace. I've recently my wife Frankie bought me a fishing van for my birthday.
Okay.
And it is epic. I sleep in the back of my van sometimes.
Big Dave's fishing van. I love that. That sounds like that should be televised. There's something in that.
Yeah.
That sounds good, fun. All right, brilliant. Well, I think that wraps it up nicely. Perfect. And if you get back out on the river soon, then best of luck. I know the river test's just down the way, isn't it? The kind of holy grail.
Yeah, I have fished that actually.
Mecca of fishing. Yeah, we drove
it's
past
a good river.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, Dave,
Pleasure.
thank you very much, and best of luck.
Cheers. Thanks.